Christmas time, man. What are you drinking out of your introvert mug?
You don't, a hot toddy.
Yeah?
No.
What it actually is in a hot toddy? I don't know what that is.
Dude, it's like honey and there's some type of liquor in there. You know what? That's a good question. Hold on. Let's find out. Ingredients. What's in a hot toddy? You know?
I assumed it was a description of me, but...
Dude, you are a hot toddy. A mixed drink of hot whiskey called Southern cough syrup. We never had any of this cough syrup in my house growing up, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's a mixed drink made of liquor and water with honey, lemon, herbs, spices, and served hot.
Yeah. Well, it sounds Christmassy.
So I think I've only had a couple in my lifetime, but I think there's like some liberty, which I liked, in how you make them. I think it's got to have honey, it's got to have whiskey, it's got to have water, and it's got to be hot. But other than that, like what else you kind of concoct to put in it, it's up to you.
Hey, kind of like faith.
Kind of like your version of Christianity.
Yeah. Or your version. That's what I'm saying.
No, mine's like, here, look, the hot toddy is a great illustration of what has happened to Christianity. If you take away whiskey, honey, or water, it's not a hot toddy anymore. But if you add to it all these spices, that's fine to a certain degree, as long as you don't say by adding those things, you're making an actual hot toddy. Look what we just did there, man.
I know.
Same as Christianity. It's very few ingredients. If you take away those ingredients, it's not Christianity anymore. But if you add to it, that's fine to a certain degree. Just don't say that those added elements make it Christianity.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas, everyone. The hot toddy illustration.
But then at a certain point, when does it become a different drink if you just keep adding stuff to it?
Well, that's true. That's true. Hey, illustrations can only go so far.
No, I require my illustrations to be bulletproof.
Okay, man. Well, good for you.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't. Dude, so what have you been up to, man? It's been like...
Well, we went to North Georgia, to the mountains.
You look like you're still in North Georgia, or you're about to go on like a cattle drive or something.
They dress like this on cattle drives.
I don't know. I'm reading a Western right now, so I've got cattle drives on the mind.
Lonesome Dove is awesome, man. That's a great book. Yeah, that's a great book.
I was aware of the miniseries. I never saw the movie or miniseries version, and I'd never read the book. And I'm loving it. It's great. So I might just move to Texas and hop on a horse.
Dude, I would pay money to see you riding a horse. You'd probably ride it backwards. That's what would happen.
I think I would get bounced off pretty quickly. So
yeah.
Anyway, so you went to North Georgia and
all
that?
And did all that. There's like a little town up there, LJ, which people be familiar with. It's kind of like a Hallmark setting, so it kind of gets you right into the Christmas vibe. Yeah. And then went over to Alabama and visited my folks, the Right Reverend Don Curran and the Reverend Cindy Curran. And
I mean the Helpmeet Cindy Curran.
The Helpmeet, yes. And then came back and started the new Advent series at our church on Sunday. So all is well in the world.
It is.
How was Tennessee? Oh, you didn't go.
We did not go to Tennessee.
When are you moving, bro? Aren't you moving?
This is the last episode that will be in my glorious office here. The next episode, when we record next, I'll be in a new spot. So we are moving, and we've found a place to move, and we're in the process of doing that. And moving is amazing. I'm so excited for the next 4 or 5 days. What we get to go through here.
Are you decorated for Christmas in your house right now then?
No, we're waiting to the new place because we were supposed to be in this place a week ago, which is why we didn't end up going to Tennessee. So we'll get to the new place and then we'll decorate there. So we'll have a little shorter window of decorations this year, which is very sad because this is my favorite time of year and I like all the decorations and all the stuff. But, I've tried extending it into January sometimes.
But
you
can just leave it up till January 30th to your birthday.
That's true. I could. But it just doesn't feel the same. It's all great. And then literally as soon as Christmas is over, the vibe's over.
Well, it's because there's all the parties and everyone is listening to music, and every department store you go into has the music going, and there's the light shows and the celebrations, and the neighborhood's lit up, and then the neighborhoods keep their lights on, but like pretty much everything else goes away. There's no more. I mean, you might have New Year's parties, but they're not the same as, and so it's hard to vibe by yourself.
I know.
I mean, I do, but it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of hard to do that. So,
so we did not, the girls ended up going to Tennessee. And so Jessica and I were here by ourselves. We haven't had a holiday, like an official holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, on our own since we had kids. And we're at that point, the kids are getting older, and it's like, what do you do when they're not here? Because your whole life is about keeping them alive,
It is. So, it is. 2 decades goes by of doing that.
I know.
And then you're like, wait, who are we? So yeah.
That's exactly what it's like.
But I will say having kids, at least for us and our family, that increases the Christmas vibe. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more presents, there's a lot more expenses, but there is something about having the little stockings and all the presents underneath the tree, and feeding the reindeer and watching the movies and going and looking at Christmas lights with the family and all that. So it's cool having kiddos at this time of year.
It definitely does. A lot of the traditions,
magic to Christmas.
Yeah, and a lot of the traditions and things that make it magical and fun would just be weird without the kids. Like I'm not going to sit on the couch and read my wife The Christmas Pig. So
Jessica would love that. What are you talking about? She would love that.
But all those little traditions. What are the things that start getting you into the Christmas vibe? Is there a moment or a thing that's like, okay, now it's Christmas time?
Okay, so the way it kind of works in our house, Evie, my little girl, I lay with her every night when she goes to bed, or at least 6 nights a week. When I'm home, I lay with her for her to go to sleep. And we listen to Christmas music all year long. March, July, doesn't matter. Lindsay Sterling Christmas most of the time. Her Christmas albums are fantastic, phenomenal. And so we're never not vibing with Christmas. And of course, if anybody knows me, and it really does, I mean, it sounds fantastical, might even sound cheesy to some, but I'm such a huge Chronicles of Narnia fan, like so huge, that's why people have asked. Like I've seen the comments on other episodes. They're like, Christmas tree? Like, because it'll be August and I'll have a Christmas tree. I have 3 Christmas trees in my office. I have over here a framed portrait of the woods, the forest of Narnia, covered, blanketed in snow, because Narnia and the symbolism, particularly there in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, of when the Pevensey children enter into Narnia, and they're wearing the fur coats, and they are greeted by the beavers and Mr. Tomless and all that, and Edmund is punter to spell the White Witch to a certain degree, and it's always winter and never Christmas. Well, in the British Isles, that would have carried. It's quite dreary in winter in the British Isles, like where Lewis was writing from, and the idea that it's just perpetually cold and dreary and overcast and lonely, and there's no Christmas to brighten the horizon, is symbolic in Narnia of what life would be like apart from Christ, like what this perpetual brokenness in a world of sin, loneliness, kind of like we've talked about, right about it in the Great Divorce. And so for me, because I value Narnia so much, I really truly enjoy celebrating Christmas all year long. Like, in a diminished sense, because I do want it to be heightened in November and December for me. Yeah. But I love celebrating that. The idea that the king has come, that Aslan, the son of the true emperor beyond the sea, has invaded Narnia, invaded this world, and that Jesus has died and risen again, so that it is perpetually Easter and perpetually Christmas. And so I kind of stay in that vibe. And we do not have Christmas trees up in my house all year long, but I do have them in my office, and I do listen to Christmas music throughout the year. But then when November 1st hits, right after Halloween, which another interesting conversation maybe we'll have on this, just this is just kind of a random episode, say Merry Christmas to everyone. But I've always found it intriguing when Christians will celebrate Christmas and not Halloween. But anyway, maybe that's for another discussion. Just based upon the origins and all the different dimensions of Christmas compared to Halloween. But when November 1st hits, that first week in November, we decorate hardcore. We've got about 7 tubs, about 9 canisters, 3 bags of Christmas trees. We have 3 big Christmas trees in our house. My wife just bought nutcrackers for the front porch that she said they were 6 feet tall. I put them together. They are 9 feet tall. You've seen them, right? No, you haven't seen them yet?
No, they haven't. They weren't there last time I was there. So
yeah, 9 feet tall. They have lights on them and they play music. And so we have those out front now with other decor on the front porch. And look, we kind of go with a classy aesthetic. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of all like black and white and gold and but I also love like vintage. I like all of it. I like, obviously I have the white Christmas lights. I like and so we call that pre-Christmas in the current home. The kind of the 3 weeks leading up to Thanksgiving are pre-Christmas. Then we pause on Thanksgiving Day to a certain degree. I mean, Jason Smith, our wonderful bass player in our band, he quoted me by saying, we pause on Thanksgiving to give thanks for Christmas. That is the truth. That's how it works. And then we enter fully into the Christmas spirit really the weekend after Thanksgiving. And so that's where we find ourselves now here in the first few weeks of December leading up to Christmas. And we don't, I'm just telling all of this to you before you share with me all that you do to get rid of your 11 months of, because you're kind of Scrooge, right? I mean, normally, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But what we do is we don't watch any of our favorite movies. We have like 12 favorite Christmas movies, and we don't watch any of them until pre-Christmas is over, until Thanksgiving's over. So we don't really watch them in the month of November. We'll listen to Christmas music. We have the Christmas decorations, but then once the Christmas season arrives, November 30th-ish, it's Christmas movies, it's certain traditions that we have, which we can get into more. It's more the music, listening to more music, not just the classical versions, but the full-scale versions of it. Anyway, how about you, man?
Yeah.
How about you? I
don't, I would not be opposed to having, Christmas trees around year-round. I mean, not to the scale at Christmas where it's like everywhere, the lights and all that. But I definitely want this is my favorite time of year. Winter has always been my favorite time of year anyway. And Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays, there's a huge element of nostalgia to these holidays.
For sure.
Which is part of what makes it feel magical. And I think most of the things that make things feel Christmassy to me are almost purely nostalgia, because like the books I like to read and the music and the movies, some of them like aren't even directly related to Christmas, but because of that nostalgia factor, they feel Christmassy. And so we've never done a ton of like outside lights and decorations, not that whole thing. I think Jessica would probably like to, but as you said, I try to make things as negative as possible for as long as possible. Not really. No, I like all the decorations. I'm not going to get up on a ladder and hang lights. I mean, as you said, you couldn't see me on a horse. Also couldn't see me on a ladder probably. So, I don't listen to the Christmas music throughout the year, but I do like people talk about, oh, here comes the Christmas songs when they walk into Target or whatever. I look forward to that. Once that starts,
for sure.
Then it's like,
heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the mood, and then it's Christmas music all through this time of year, and pretty much no other kind of music gets played.
Like I will actually avoid the mall.
Yeah.
11 months out of the year, but then I will purposely go to the mall.
Yeah.
And just walk around like at this time of year, because the music, the lights, there's a vibe. There's a spirit in the air. Christmas spirit,
I love all
whatever.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. And my oldest 2 daughters are 17 and 15. And so for them, it's almost more like adults in terms of the Christmas time and presents and things. But my youngest, Emmy, who's 9, it still has that magical element to it. And she gets super excited. And that is a big part of it for sure.
Are you guys going to Disney?
I feel like
you going to go to Disney at all?
I was thinking about it.
It's pretty cool at Christmas, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like someone had said that years ago, and I thought, like, that sounds terrible. Like, who would want to go to Disney at Christmas? But we didn't live in this area, and now, I feel like that would be a cool thing to do one time. I would like to experience it with the girls, and I imagine it would be a pretty cool day.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, you can even go over in the afternoon. Just
Yeah.
once the lights come out and everything, go one of the days where they stay open later or whatever, and which you didn't have to because it's getting dark now at 5:45. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's a blast. I love all that.
Yeah.
So
we do all the same, like, I would say they're traditions. They're things we do every year, but they're not that elaborate. We just have a list of movies that we watch and books we read and things we do that are fun. It's a good time of year.
do you have books other than the Christmas page?
Yes. And that's what I was saying, things that aren't even directly related to Christmas. All the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe does have Christmas in it. I wouldn't typically call Narnia, they're not Christmas books, but there's elements there. So I'll read usually either The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or A Horse and His Boy. That one also feels very Christmassy. It probably just supposed to be the nostalgic aspect of it. Those two, The Christmas Pig, like I said, and
by the way, and if you're listening to this or watching and you don't know what we're talking about, J.K. Rowling, whatever you want to call her, the author of the Harry Potter books, wrote probably 6-7 years ago now, this little book called The Christmas Pig.
Yeah.
And apparently some people threw shade at it because in the very beginning of The Christmas Pig, the main character, Jack, his name's Jack, right? Pajama Boy. But Jack, he has his favorite stuffed Christmas pig, and Jack's parents get divorced in the first 3 or 4 chapters.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so like grown up. Well, once again, C.S. Lewis himself said that children should know dragons and danger and evil existing in the world, so they can prepare themselves for to be courageous, to understand there's a big, bad, dark world out there that's heavy and hard. And so every parent's different, but we've never sheltered our kids from those kind of realities that exist in the world. And I think it is critical to the story. That this little boy, there's a reason he clings so ferociously to this little stuffed pig, and then goes in search of it. And that's all I'll say, because I don't want to ruin it. Anyway, she wrote this story, 300-page book, and we read it every winter too. We're about to actually start it probably tonight, and it's phenomenal. It's almost like you get to chapter 52, 53, 54, whatever it is, toward the end, and you feel, at least for me, once again, as a Enneagram high wing 4, you feel like a lump start rising up in your throat a little bit. Your sinuses start itching a little bit, eyes start watering. You're like, man, this is, and it's
There's the second to last chapter. It might be the third to last chapter. Yeah, it is definitely emotional for sure.
Yeah.
I think the first time I read it, I was like, I can't believe how emotional I'm feeling over this, a book called The Christmas Pig. But yeah.
Well, J.K. Rowling has always been absolutely brilliant at taking, and really a juvenile world, Harry Potter, especially the first couple books, Christmas Pig, and then some of her other books I've read to my kids, and drawing in the major themes of life, friendship and loyalty and courage and love, and and J.K. Rowling herself being a professed believer in Christ, you can see a lot of resurrection, gospel grace overtones as well in a lot of her writings. But The Christmas Pig is phenomenal. That's the only book that we read year in and read out, other than little ones. We'll read How the Grinch Stole Christmas, How the Grinch Lost Christmas. We'll read The Worst Christmas Pageant Ever, or The Best, or whatever it was called. We'll read that one.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
It's cute. It's funny.
I would just add to that, I feel like her themes and her religious, Judeo-Christian sort of messianic themes are more present even in The Christmas Pig than in something like Harry Potter. It's all there, but in The Christmas Pig, it's almost, it feels closer to Narnia and what C.S. Lewis wrote than her other stuff. There's parts where it feels like it's almost direct allegory in a way. I know wasn't its intention, but yeah, it's it is such a moving book. And I agree, the same thing. I remember started reading it to the girls a couple years ago, and the part where the divorce at the beginning happened, and it's divorce, whatever, but the way she's describing it from the perspective of this little boy is so heartbreaking. And I'm reading this and I'm going, man, I'm looking over at Emmy, this is really kind of heavy, and she makes it heavy on purpose, but the themes in that book are just amazing. stuff like that is part of why I look forward to this time of year, is those getting to pick those things up again, and same movies, the same books. And so, yeah, those books, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I don't know why this time of year, like, I want something kind of more epic, just
I think
bigger.
I think there's a magical feel. There's like Christmas almost brings out the wonder of childlike fantasy, back. And so I think that's I think that's a big part of it. By the way, we need to do an episode in season 2 on the gospel and Harry Potter, because I think it actually is, some people will be bored and not want to listen to that. Other people will be entranced by it. But I think it's actually just as thick with gospel resonance as Christmas Page, just maybe not on the surface as much. Like Christmas Page is like more like on the surface with the themes of sacrifice and substitution and grace and love and, forgiveness and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, no, those are all like, amazing. And then obviously there's movies that we absolutely love. A few movies that I hate. I'm not like a big fan of like rom-com Christmas type stuff, personally. And Hallmark, they're all the same. Hallmark movies are all the same. They're literally like, I'll lay on the couch watching them with Danielle, and I'll predict what's coming, 1 year later, and it's just like, but like the big staples for us are, we wait until a cold night every year and we watch Polar Express. And
I knew that was going to be on your list.
I know it's kind of like cheesy and the animation is like whatever, but there is something very like magical about hearing the bells ring, and
I still never watched that. Never watched it.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Like, you'll probably think it's cheesy, and it is cheesy, but it's like, it's awesome. And we wait until it's cold, because we all get in our pajamas and we light a fire in the fireplace in our home and get hot chocolate, because that's all part of the theme. Yeah. And we watch Polar Express. So that's a big one for us. Our favorites are Home Alone 1 and 2. Like, those are just like the favorites. And then on Christmas Eve, we always go to hibachi after our Christmas Eve service. We go to hibachi, and then we come home. We watch It's a Wonderful Life, which some people say you have to grow up with, but I think it's a phenomenal movie. And then we'll feed the reindeer.
Your kids make it through it?
No, I don't think any of them have ever made it all the way through it. Yeah. But I'll watch it. I'll lay there and watch It's a Wonderful Life, and and then of course on top of that, there's Elf, which we're gonna watch, and there's Muppet. Danielle's favorite is Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she loves it. Yeah.
Interesting. So, those are pretty much all the same ones on my list. Home Alone for sure, along with It's a Wonderful Life, another old one, White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. That's one that I like. Also, Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you put that more in the Halloween category?
That's Halloween category for us. We watch it twice before Halloween. That's more Halloween, but yeah.
That stuff, to me, it feels, it straddles both, obviously, but because of Christmas Town and all that, it feels Christmassy.
Have you gotten our family Christmas card yet?
I don't think so.
We sent them out a couple days ago, but they are Nightmare Before Christmas. We are Jack and Sally and the 3 little kids.
Well, that's what you did for
Santa
Halloween
Claus,
too.
Yeah.
So all of those, a couple I would add. There's also, we do the Santa Claus. That one to me is cheesy, but that has a nostalgic factor. I remember.
Talking about cheesy. Do you do Jingle All the Way?
That one we are introducing this year.
Yeah, with Turbo Man and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, it's I don't know. It's fun though. It's just like, I don't know. Like I don't cap on hardly any. There are like only 2 Christmas songs I hate. Only 2 in the entire world that I hate. And there's really not a Christmas movie I can think of that I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. Like, it's just the worst,
Well, that one specifically, I love Phil Hartman. I think Sinbad's funny. I liked that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but the girls are finally at the age where I feel like they would like it. And so we're adding that one this year, and we'll see what they think.
Have you ever watched Christmas Chronicles?
I don't think so.
That one's actually really fun. It's is it Kurt Russell? Who's married to Goldie Hawn? Oh, yeah,
there is one with Kurt Russell that we have watched. I think we have seen that.
That's a fun movie. Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2. Those are good. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie for you?
Yes, it definitely is a Christmas movie for me.
Okay. Surprise. I've never seen it.
I'm not surprised, actually, because here, look, there's a whole sort of swath of movies because of how we were raised, that for most people, they're very nostalgic. They saw them at a certain time period. And there's movies and music and things like for us that just were never, they never had that nostalgic factor. Although I did see Die Hard, I think, once I was in college, or probably earlier, I don't remember. But I like it, and it definitely has a Christmas feel to me. The problem is, there's another movie, like one of my favorite Christmas movies, which you definitely can't watch with the kids, is Love Actually.
Oh, it's been forever since I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, part of the difficulty is there's almost no time where you can do stuff this time of year where the kids aren't around. But those are some that I definitely like. I love Love Actually. It's like, I'm not the biggest romantic comedy fan, but that one always gets me for some reason. I don't know.
I do remember it. It's been forever. Except that I know that they say that who's the guy? I mean, I should know this because he played Snape.
Who's also in Die Hard, Alan Rickman.
Yeah, Alan Rickman. They say if you watch Die Hard after you watch Love Actually, that Alan Rickman gets what's coming to him for breaking Emma Thompson's heart. So there's that.
Well, the thing is, Love Actually is like an ensemble. There's not like a main. There's probably a main character, I guess, but you know, I mean, it's got what's his name from Taken. I can't think of names right now.
Liam Neeson. Hugh Grant's in that. Keira Knightley.
Hugh Grant. Yeah. So I got a huge
the dude from Walking Dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When he was young, he's like young dude. Yeah. Anyway, so
I like that one. I also in that category is The Holiday with Jack Black and Kate Winslet and Jude Law.
Cameron Diaz, or is that Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, Cameron Diaz. That one also has some nostalgic factor, and so those are probably pretty close to, like, for a lot of people, Hallmark style movies. But those ones I like just because, like I said, there's a nostalgic factor to them, and they make it feel Christmassy. But I've never been able to get my kids through It's a Wonderful Life. I think it's an amazing movie, great themes.
It's phenomenal.
For me, it's it was a required viewing, growing up. And so I've seen it so many times that I'm okay if we skip it or miss it. But one last one on the movie front is Stardust, which again is not about Christmas, but I don't know if you ever watched it. It was adapted from a Neil Gaiman novel called Stardust.
No.
It's, dude, you would really like it. It's got like a Narnia fantastical sort of feel.
Dude, I feel like you're just bringing all kinds of crap in that have nothing to do with Christmas at this point, man.
That's what I said. There's these things.
You're gonna be like, my favorite Christmas book is Ezekiel. It's not phenomenal.
It's Pet Sematary, Stephen King. No, like, look, if it's a movie that has if it's set 100 years ago and it's in England and there's snow on the ground, it feels Christmassy. So there you go.
I get that. I get it. Oh, Harry Potter's kind of Christmassy. That's another tradition we have that's post-Christmas. So to help us deal with the Christmas blues, the day after Christmas, we start watching all 8 Harry Potter films. And we watch them over the next week and a half or so. Yeah. And that gives us something to look forward to, because we're such big Christmas people that when Christmas Day arrives and the parties and the music kind of cease, it gives us something to look forward to. But I mean, also along those lines, every year? We do it every year. We watch all 8 of them every year.
I have to, same thing with books. Like, I have to space them. Like, I just read Harry Potter last year at this time of year. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. I can't do it every year because it's just too soon.
I get that with books. Like, I'd probably read them every 3 or 4 years. But watching the movies, and once again, it's something we do as a family. Your Christmas trees are still up, and so you kind of have this cheery glow. Candles, the fragrance is going, Yeah. But along those lines, like I'm not, neither are you, the most extroverted social person in the world, but I enjoy like being out at Christmas. I enjoy the Christmas parties. Getting together. We have our church progressive dinner. I think Danielle's gonna do like a big minute to win it game with our home group and maybe, a few other people. I don't know. And I like the Christmas parties. I like the, those are fun. Yeah. Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is always, if I'm honest, a little heavier for me. Because it's like I work all day on Christmas Eve preparing for the Christmas Eve service. I've done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like kind of annual reminder that Christmas is almost over. You know, like, because Christmas is not a day for me. Christmas Day is the culmination of everything. That's the end, really. Christmas is a season. It's a frame of mind, really. And
honestly, the first 3 weeks of December I probably like better than Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for that reason, because it's all anticipation. It's all build up, and then it's over. So
kind of like like many things in life.
Yeah. Many things that eventually end.
Oh man.
What about do you have any particular Christmas Day or Christmas Eve present, like traditions and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like we'll do one gift on Christmas Eve. The way that we kind of work it, because we do celebrate as part of the Christmas season and spirit of Christmas, Santa in our house. So the kids get one gift from Saint Nick, and then they get 4 on Christmas Day from us. And we've kind of done this thing for the last 5 or 6 years now, where we heard it from somebody years ago, but where basically their 4 gifts are something to wear, something to read, something you want, and something you need. Those are the 4. So they get something to wear, whatever it might be, like something to read. It could be a book, or it could be like a board game or puzzle, something like that. And then something they want, like a big gift they want, and something that they more so need. So we kind of do that every year. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. Those don't have to be like 4 big gifts or anything by any means. But
that's a really good idea, because especially with kids like your age and like Emmy's age, with all the extended family, like they get so much crap every year. It's just mountains of things. And so you almost feel like whatever you get them is just, like, you wouldn't even have to get anything. But are there any gifts?
We ought not to. How surprised would our kids be on Christmas morning?
I know. And there was nothing there. Dude. Yeah, I could imagine. Are there any gifts that are like you do every year that are just always hits? Like for example, we are big into Legos. Emmy and I will build, we could do Legos for hours. And so she will always get a few large Lego sets, and then we'll spend kind of like the rest of the day on Christmas Day putting those together and stuff like that.
That sounds awesome. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about doing, I love doing Legos myself. I never did them growing up. I think they were too expensive. We grew up pretty impoverished, and Legos were too expensive. And so we just never really worked with them until I had kids. And with Spurgeon, we've gotten a lot of we've never gotten a Hardworks Castle, but we've gotten a lot of, Ninjago or I don't know, some of these others. But then we've also got a lot of Harry Potter stuff. And I built the Hogwarts Express with him, and I built the Chamber of Secrets and the Burrow, and then they get destroyed. Just kids come over to your house and destroy everything. But I've thought about just getting them for myself because they're good for your brain. But no, there's nothing like that we do that we do every year. At Christmas Day, we have like a lunch at the house, and we'll invite like people who don't have extended family in the area over for lunch, and have a honey baked ham, and have all the Christmas fixings, and then we just kind of chill. And so no, we don't. A lot of people go to movies on Christmas Day. We've never really done that. Not that I'd be opposed to it. Do whatever you want. I don't. But we've never done that. I think part of that is the avoidance of crowds at that point. Like knowing that the theater is really crowded on Christmas Day. I personally don't like watching movies. Surprise, surprise, with a bunch of people sitting around me talking or singing or on their phone or whatever. So I'd rather be in my home watching a movie. But so we've never done that. But yeah, no, that sounds awesome.
Spoiler alert. In case you have little kids listening, we're about to discuss some Christmas spoilers.
Do you guys do the Elf on the Shelf?
We do Santa on the Mantle.
Santa on the Mantle, okay.
We have little Santa in our house, and he goes to
We do Aaron in the church at our house. We have a little statue of you that moves around.
You should. Yes, you should anoint the feet of that and pray daily. No, you're stupid.
The Elf on the Shelf, I will say, and I'm trying not to talk loudly in case Emmy is on the other side of this wall, but it's one of the last It's one of the last things, the sort of magical elements. I would imagine she has to surmise that the little elf is not real, but
okay, well,
so far she still believes. I know what this opens for you, but before you get into
the world of
before you get into it, I just want to say that at least it's still at this point, there is still, I think she still believes it, and to me that is one of my favorite elements of Christmas is her getting up every morning, finding out where she is, and the little notes that she leaves him are like, I'm sure every parent thinks their kid is awesome and it's heartbreaking and that's amazing and beautiful. But I love seeing like the notes she leaves, and that's just one of my favorite things. And I know it won't last much longer, So I think this might be the last year before she's like,
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think we have to, and I want to be careful because people could be listening to this in their home and their kids to be around or whatever. And the last thing I would ever want to do is spoil anything. But far be it from me. I mean, I have kids come up and ask me straight up, is something or someone real?
Yeah.
And the way we've always approached that is, there is a reality to the imagination, and that most of the things in life that we love most, you cannot put your hands on, you cannot quantify. Things that you value most, things that shape your life the most, anxiety and fear and love and grief and hope, and these are all entities in reality. Christmas spirit, like, I'll tell people, like, is Christmas spirit real? And they're like, of course it's real. And I'm like, how is that? And now do certain things, once again, I'm trying to be careful, do certain things actually happen, come down the chimney and
I'll insert a little, before this part in the conversation, I'll insert a little, hey, we're going to say some things here if you don't want kids to know.
Yes,
so
okay.
You can speak freely.
So does Santa actually come down the chimney and, okay, we understand, but does that mean he doesn't exist? Like, I think what we've done in the West truly is that we have so post-Enlightenment, you were not expecting this today. Maybe you were, I don't know. But post-Enlightenment, we've become so rigid with everything being, we have to be able to understand it. We have to be able to, like, put our hands on it. We have to be able to see it with our eyes. And that's one of the reasons that so much in the realm of faith is questioned and kept, But the reality is that these certain elements of Christmas or other elements of life that we value, just because you can't put your hands on it, just because it's not real in one way, does not mean it's not real in another way. And so in our home, we talk about reality in that sense of there are dimensions of reality. Like, there are dimensions of reality, like everyone would admit this. Anyone who works in mental health would admit this. If they really stop to think about it, the highest dimension of reality is God himself. He is real in all realms, so to speak. But there are, and I don't want to, like, get too far into the weeds with this, but basically the idea here is that there are things that move. Nostalgia, for example, is real. Like, you wouldn't say nostalgia is not real just because you can't put your hands on it. It's really hard to quantify. It's, you start to define it and it almost sounds made up, but, like, it's real. Like, it really happens for us. And I would say the same is true when it comes to, to a degree, the elf on the shelf. You can actually put your hands on him, and you're not supposed to, but and so that's, to me, like, I try to give credit and value wherever it's due, and instead of negating joy by eliminating something that there is portions of reality to, or maybe it's real in the sense that it points to a greater or deeper reality and significance. Yeah. So, like, Aslan, you just say isn't real, but I believe Aslan is real. Maybe not in the way we would classically define realism, but he's real in the sense of how he points us to something greater, more significant, deeper, more profound. So anyway, that's the part of the conversation that will have people either scratching their heads or just calling me a buffoon, whatever. But to me, I don't, as my kids get older, it will not be like this conversation of, is something real, is something not. My kids have asked me many times, is Santa real? Is little Santa real? Or is the elf on the shelf real? And we will say the same thing that we say about many things. Your imagination is very powerful. Your imagination is real, and this is real in your imagination. Like, and how we craft and how so many people have been inspired the world over by the writings of people like J.K. Rowling and others, Tolkien. And so the symbolism there the illustration, the depth, and the meaning behind these things, there is a vividness and a reality there. And also, they capture for us, like when I watch a movie, it could be any movie, but especially Christmas movies, I realize that something like this has probably happened to some degree around the world. And so I'm not watching pure fiction. I'm watching a retelling of a redemption story oftentimes. So anyway, those are how I try to approach a lot of this stuff, so that not just so it's a crutch, so the magic's never lost, but also there's a benefit to like the magic never being gone, like the magic never being lost. Like is It's a Wonderful Life real? Well, yes. Is it based on a true story? No. But has that happened for people? Everything that happens to George Bailey in this movie? Absolutely, man. Passed over, neglected, marginalized, stuck in a small town, never get to accomplish your dreams, and yet without you realizing you are impacting and blessing the lives of thousands of people.
And visited by a bumbling angel. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not that part, but you know what I mean? Like, so.
No, I know.
And I think that would give people a lot of hope at this time of year, because this can also be, and it's something important to touch on, this can be a heavy season for people. They've lost relatives, lost parents, lost children, lost brothers and sisters. And maybe the year has not gone according to plan, and now they have the realization that this year's almost over, and Christmas is the reminder that the year's almost over. And if they could stop, like George Bailey does in the movie, and realize who they've impacted and how many people they've encouraged and helped this year, that can be a source of comfort, and so I don't like to necessarily just dichotomize stuff between fact and fiction, so to speak. I like to look at it in how does it point to a greater and deeper reality.
I think it would be cool to do an episode, next season on that whole topic, because it's come up before, but I don't see any problem with prolonging your children's, as you said, imaginations as long as possible. Because, before too long, they will lose it just by being out in the world. And I forget who it was. It might have been C.S. Lewis or some book I was reading recently where it's like, we become adults and then the process is like trying to become children again, in a sense of our imagination and the ability to do creative work and all these things. And so,
you look at Hook, that movie Hook, which is not a Christmas movie, but that's the whole point of the movie Hook, is to renew, to find again, to revive that sense of wonder, that sense of magic, that sense of playfulness. That, C.S. Lewis did say, one day you'll be old enough to read fairy tales again.
Yeah,
and I think
that might be the quote I was thinking of. Yeah,
that's always stuck with me, that quote, because it takes a certain degree of maturation to come to the point of realizing that me working my 9 to 5 or whatever job I have, and me bringing home and living for the weekend and doing whatever I do on the weekend and getting up and doing it all again on Monday morning, that is not the point and purpose of life. Like just being serious about everything and rigid about everything, there has to be a playfulness and a joy. I told somebody here recently, a pastor I met with for coffee last week, I said, I think people of grace, Christians, should be the most whimsical and joyful and engaging, entertaining, and creative people in the entire world. And that's really how it was. After, especially once you look at the Renaissance moving forward, Christians were always the more playful, the more creative, the more colorful. And that's been lost. That's been lost, especially here in the last 50 years or so, at least here in the West. And so I think that that's all really, really important. And I never want to stamp out that degree of wonder and make the world black and white and flat for my children.
Yeah, I agree. Well, dude, I think, we'll have a little in-between-isode here between seasons, just to...
Merry Christmas to all you guys.
Thanks
for making season 1. Seriously, thanks for making season 1 enjoyable. Even those out there who hated us and commented, you helped us without realizing it. But you guys, and I would say this, if you enjoyed season 1, or even if you didn't, we would love to hear what you would like for us to chop up on season 2. We have a few topics that we've talked about, but if this is helping you just think through things, whatever it is, let us know, and let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about in season 2. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to all. And to all, good riddance.
Yeah.
Bah humbug. No. Anyway, all right. Until January.